Welcome to Voiceover. Voiceover speaks descriptions of items on the screen and can be used to control the computer using only your keyboard. If you already know how to use Voiceover, press the V key now. If you want to learn how to use Voiceover, press the space bar now.
Hey everybody, welcome to Theory of a Blind Man. I'll be your instructor today, Whistler. Today is my introductory lesson of Apple's Voiceover OS X Catalina for 2020. This is lesson 1, which we will be going over how to start Voiceover for the first time, conceptual layout, desktop layout, and how to configure your Voiceover settings. In these lessons, I will be showing the screen plus the on-screen capture panel of Voiceover. That way, if you have a visual assistant with you, they can follow along and help you in the future. So without any further delay, let's get started. So this is how it's going to look when you first start Voiceover. You will have the voice Alex, and I'm going to go over the general basic concept of how your desktop and your computer and Voiceover is going to look and act. So, and this will be keyboard only in the beginning. I will introduce the trackpad or your touchpad later on. So, to start, how your screen will look using Voiceover. First thing to note is VO is what I'm going to refer to as the commander keys, the Voiceover keys, in order to perform certain actions with Voiceover. Those keys are on a standard keyboard, either a wireless keyboard or a wired keyboard. You have 3 keys to the left of your spacebar. The farthest on the left is Control. Next one to the right is Option. And finally, you've got Command. VO is Control, Option, plus a key to perform a certain Voiceover task. First, let's get familiar with the screen. So if you press VOM as in menu 1 time.
Menu bar Apple. You are currently on a menu bar item. To open this menu, press Control, Option, Space.
You will have such things like the Apple menu.
Finder. You are currently on a menu bar item. To open File, Edit, View, Go, Window, Help.
And
you are currently on a Help.
Those are your basic, I'll call them the left menu items. Now there's a second menu option. If you want to think about it in relation to Windows, this would be your system tray or notification area. To access that, you'll press VOMM.
Menu bar Apple, Macintosh HD volume. You are currently on a menu bar. Menu extras, menu bar Apple, menu extras. Stop recording, menu extra.
So you'll hear menu extras, and I'm currently recording the screen, so that's why it says screen recording. And oh, I should have mentioned, to move through items, you'll use VO left, right, up, or down. So let's go to the right, using VO right key.
Front end agent, menu extra. Dropbox 88.4. Shuttle helper, menu extra. Accessibility, menu extra. Time machine, menu extra. Bluetooth, menu extra. Wi-Fi, 4 of 4 bars. Displays menu, menu extra. Eject, menu extra. Volume 100%, menu extra. Friday, January 17th, 10:23 a.m. Clock. Darashon Ryan. User. Menu extra. Spotlight. Menu extra. Siri. Menu extra. Notification center. Menu extra.
And that should be
You are currently on Notification center. Notifications. Finder. Desktop. Macintosh HD volume. You are currently on.
By pressing escape, I escaped the menu extra bar. Now I'm on the desktop. And I only have one thing here, which is my hard drive.
Macintosh 8 screen recording January 7 screen recording
Oh, plus all the screen recordings that I was testing. But anyway.
screen Macintosh HD volume.
So this is your desktop, and this is where you will have pretty much whatever you want. If you are so used to Windows, you can place items on the desktop as well, if you so choose to do so. Next thing we're going to go over is the dock. And to access the dock, you will press VOD as in dock.
Dock. System preferences 14 of 22. You are currently on application dock item. To open this application, press Control Option Space.
Now, just like the menu bar, to navigate, you'll use VO left and right arrow.
Text edit, Mail 12, YouTube 11, Safari 10, Google Chrome 9, Brave browser 8, QuickTime Player, IINA 6 of 22, Motion 5 of 22, Final Cut Pro 4 of 22, Fission 3 of 22, Farago 2 of 22, Finder Open 1 of 22. You are currently on application dock item.
And that is your dock. And now how it is by default.
Dock. Finder.
It hides itself when you're not interacting with it. So as I press VOD, it kind of pops up in, I believe, an animation sort of a form.
Dock. Finder. Open 1 of 22.
And I remember back in the day from the Mac G5 days, that was an old OS. As you interacted with the dock, like if I go to
Farago 2 of 20.
Farago, it would become larger and kind of bounce up and down, and all the other icons would be small. So as you move, that Farago would shrink.
Fission 3 of 20.
Then Fission would become large and so
Final
forth.
Cut Pro 4. Motion 5. Finder. Desktop. Macintosh HD volume. You are currently on a...
Okay, now I'm going to go through with you some VoiceOver general settings that you might want to consider changing to work better for you. And how you get to the VoiceOver utility is you press VO, again that's Control Option, plus the letter H for VoiceOver Help.
VoiceOver Help menu 5 items. User Guide Control Option ? Commands Help menu Control Option HH. Keyboard Help Control Option K. Sounds Help menu. Quick Start Tutorial Control Option FN Command. Quick Start Tutorial Sound Keyboard Commands Help.
So we're going to go to Commands.
Commands Help menu 13 items.
And I'm going to look for Open VoiceOver Utility. Now you can do first letter navigation just like in Windows. So I could actually type OPEN space V, which I'll do.
3 items. Open Verbosity Rotor Control Option V. Open VoiceOver Help menu Control Option H.
Which that's where I'm at, so you don't want to open that.
Open VoiceOver Utility Control Option FN8.
So it gives you also the shortcut key to memorize for future use.
Opening VoiceOver Utility. You are currently on a table. To enter this table, press Control.
Now, so it places you on utilities categories of the VoiceOver utilities. Now, what I've done for ease of access is I went into my system itself and I actually made a shortcut and placed it in the dock.
VoiceOver Utility Open 15 of 22.
So all I have to do is
you are currently on a
click on that.
VoiceOver Utility.
Now let's go over the categories.
Speak the following greeting after login. You are currently on a tab.
So I'm on General.
Welcome to Mac OS. VoiceOver is on. Contents selected. Greeting. Edit text.
So
you are currently on.
When your computer starts and VoiceOver comes on, this is what will be spoken, so you know VoiceOver is on.
Display welcome dialog when VoiceOver starts. Unchecked checkbox.
That's a visual thing, so you can choose to have that be visual or not.
Keys to use as the VoiceOver modifier. You are currently on a text element. Control Option or caps lock. Keys to use as the VoiceOver modifier. Pop-up button.
So it tells you what the VO keys are.
Portable preferences off.
Now, portable preferences is if you had a thumb drive, you could save your VoiceOver preferences to a thumb drive and take it to any Mac computer, plug in the USB hard drive, and it will automatically set the VoiceOver to those temporary portable preferences.
Portable preferences off. Setup button. Portable preferences let you take your...
And we will go over that in the future. So let's go back to the categories.
Allow VoiceOver to be controlled with Apple's portable setup. Portable preferences off. Image. Control Option. Keys to use. Display welcome dialog. Welcome to speak the following utility categories. Table. General. Selected. Verbosity.
And now, when you hear this table, if you can actually interact with this table, or in some places, and this is where the concepts of voiceover will come in handy, because there are multiple ways to do different things. So you can press just up and down.
Speech. Verbosity. Speech. Navigation. Web. Navigation. Speech. Verbosity. General.
Or you can do a function which you will need to get familiar with, which is called interact, which is VO shift down arrow.
In utility categories, table. General. Selected. General. Row 1 of 10.
So you get a little more information, plus you're actually inside, your voiceover cursor is now inside of this table list view.
Verbosity. Speech. Navigation. Web. You are currently on a sound.
And now you can use the VO left or right arrow.
Web.
To navigate.
You are currently on a cell
within here.
Navigation.
But if you were not interacting with it and you use the VO left and right arrow, you'd be interacting then with the parent window. To stop interacting, you'd press Shift, Control, Option, Up arrow.
Out of utility categories, table.
And it tells you you're out of utilities categories.
Speech. Verbosity. General.
So, first,
Verbosity.
let's go to verbosity. VO right arrow to see your options.
Speech. Selected. Tab. 1 of 5. Braille. Tab. 2 of 5. Your text. Tab. 3 of 5. Announcements. Tab. 4 of 5. Hints. Tab. 5 of 5. Default speech verbosity. Hints.
Let's start with hints.
Selected. Hints.
When you first start using VoiceOver, this may be handy in the beginning.
Speak instructions for using the item in the VoiceOver cursor. Checked checkbox. You are currently on a checkbox. To select or deselect this checkbox, press Control, Option, Space.
And as you could tell, that last descriptive sentence is hints. So if I was to uncheck this...
Uncheck speak instructions for using the item in the VoiceOver cursor. Checkbox.
Notice there's no more feedback. So as I go through elements...
Hints. Selected. Tab. 5 of 5.
That's it. But if hints were on, it would give me additional information on what that action actually does.
Speak instructions for using the item in the VoiceOver cursor. Unchecked checkbox.
So let's check it again so you can hear it.
Check. Speak instructions for using the item in the VoiceOver cursor. Checkbox. Hints. Selected. Tab. 5 of 5. You are currently on a tab. 5 of 5. To select this option, press Control, Option, Space.
And there is your additional information. For the purpose of this lesson, I'm actually going to turn it off.
Speak instructions for using the item. Uncheck. Speak when an item has a help tag. Speak help tag. When an item has a help tag, pop-up button. Choose how to announce an item's help tag. Speak hints after delay.
And you get your time of how quickly it will announce.
0 seconds. Speak short. Long. Help button.
And that is it for that
help button.
Tab. So let's go to the next one.
Announcements. Text. Braille. Announcements. Tab. 4 of 5.
We'll go to announcements.
Selected. Announcements. Tab. 4 of 5. Hints. Tab. Announce when mouse cursor enters a window. Unchecked. Checkbox.
This could be handy. I personally don't find it handy, but as it says, as your cursor enters a window, it will say focus is now on this window, for example.
Announce when a modifier key is pressed. Unchecked checkbox.
I will do this.
Check announce
so you can hear it.
When a modifier key is pressed. Checkbox. Control. Option.
So as I'm pressing those two keys.
Control. Option.
It will tell you. So you know for sure that you're pressing Control. Option. Right arrow.
Announce when the caps lock key. Announce when a modifier.
So I'm going to turn that off.
Uncheck. Announce.
It's just too much for me.
Announce when the caps lock key is pressed. Checked. Checkbox. Caps lock on. Caps lock off.
So just like JAWS or NVDA, when your screen reader is on, you need to double tap caps lock in order for it to actually activate.
Caps lock on.
Tap, tap.
Caps lock off.
Tap, tap.
Speak header when announce when the caps lock key is pressed.
I don't know if you remember, but in the previous window, the voiceover modifier key is Control Option or Caps Lock. So you can either use V, O, right arrow,
Speak header when navigating across a table row. Checked checkbox.
left arrow,
Announce when the caps lock key.
or press Caps Lock and hold it and press your arrow keys.
Speak header when navigating across a table row. Checked checkbox.
So I find this particular one useful, so I know when I'm actually in a heading, because sometimes you can interact with headings and sometimes you can't.
Automatically speak text in dialog boxes. Checked checkbox.
That's obviously handy, so you could leave that on.
Append phonetic pronunciation to single characters. Unchecked checkbox. Append phonetic pronunciation to single characters. Unchecked checkbox.
That's just too much information for me. So basically, if you have additional letters after a word, let's say like PhD, it will say PhD, Papa, Hotel, Delta, that sort of thing.
When status text changes under voiceover cursor. Play tone. When status text changes under voiceover cursor. Pop-up button.
Status text, for example, could be something like a progress bar or a circle loading icon, something to that effect, or if the font changes or your browser refreshes, that sort of thing.
When progress indicator changes under voiceover cursor. Play tone. When progress indicator changes under voiceover cursor. Pop-up button.
So the default sound is just a simple bonk here and there. If you want to change this, you can press VO spacebar.
Menu 3 items checkmark. Play tone.
And as you click on a drop-down box or menu box, it'll tell you how many items, and all you have to do to navigate is up and down.
Speak update. Do nothing. Checkmark. Play tone. Speak update.
You can have speak update, so it'll tell you the percentage, for example. I like the tone because I know the tone, and if I'm in the middle of working, I can just keep that in the background and hear it. So I'm going to press escape to leave this box.
Closing menu. Play tone. When number of rows change under voiceover cursor. Do nothing. When number of rows change under voiceover cursor. Pop. Speak size and position in inches. Speak size and position in pop-up button.
Obviously,
Choose how dimensions are spoken.
that will be it's what it says. You can have centimeters, meters, or inches, and that sort of thing.
Speak text under mouse after delay. Unchecked checkbox.
This could be handy, but we'll get into this feature later on when we start incorporating the mouse.
0 seconds. Speak text short. Long. Help button.
So that's it for that
Long.
category. Let's go to the next tab.
When stat append automatic speak head announce when mouse cursor hit announce text tab 3 of 5 selected text tab
So now we're on text.
announcements tab hints punctuation sum punctuation pop-up button
This is very similar to JAWS or NVDA.
menu 4 items check
VO spacebar to go into the menu.
none customize ellipsis all checkmark sum none customize ellipsis all closing menu
Customize is more of an advanced features, but we will get into that in the advanced core.
repeated punctuation first 3 times repeated punctuation pop-up button choose how to speak repeated punctuation menu 6 items checkmark first 4 times first 5 times always spoken with count.
A good example is emojis or exclamation marks. People may put a ton of exclamation marks, so it'll just say hello exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark, right? Or it'll say it by numbers. So hello 3 exclamation marks, hello 3 smiley faces, that sort of thing.
Closing menu for while typing speak characters and words while typing speak pop-up button
And this is all
choose the
default,
amount of feedback for type
of course.
menu nothing characters words checkmark characters and words
So very similar to other screen readers.
closing menu when moving the cursor speak text the cursor passes when moving the cursor pop-up button choose the amount of feedback for typing menu 2 items checkmark speak text the cursor passes speak text to the right of the cursor
Now that could be kind of confusing, so I suggest not using that if you're just starting with VoiceOver.
Divider, dimmed, closing menu.
Whoops.
When text attributes speak text occur. When text.
Okay, good.
When text attributes change. Do nothing. When text attributes change. Pop up.
Text attributes being color, size, font style. Attributes.
When encountering a misspelled word.
Speak misspelled.
Speak attributes. When encountering a misspelled word. Menu for change pitch. Do nothing. Play tone. Checkmark speak attributes.
Meaning that,
Closing.
for example, if you're writing a document or reading a document and you come across a misspelling, it'll say blah, 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 misspelled blah, 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 blah. If it's unspoken.
When encountering a link/attachment. Speak. When encountering a link/attachment. Pop-up button.
So
Choose how to announce links and attachments.
either play a tone or speak it or nothing. It'll say literally link https blah, 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 blah.
Read numbers as. Words. Read numbers as. Pop-up button. Choose how to speak.
This would be your personal preference. Words or digits, I believe, are the options. Let's check it out.
Menu 2 items. Digits. Checkmark words.
Yep.
Digits. Closing menu when reading a capital letter. Change pitch when reading a capital letter. Pop-up button. Choose how to when deleting text. Change pitch when deleting text. Pop-up button. Choose how to announce.
This is just preference. I remember when I was using JAWS, I would like to hear the letter that I'm deleting. Now it doesn't bother me so much once you get familiar with the keyboard, so...
Help change pitch when deleting text. Menu play tone. Speak. Do nothing. Checkmark change pitch.
So it'll say like delete, 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 I believe.
Closing menu when delete when
Let's go to the next tab.
announce text Braille tab 2 of 5 text select Braille tab 2 of 5.
I have no Braille device hooked up at this point, but this could be a future lesson if you guys are interested in that. But for the time being, let's get used to the basics of VoiceOver.
Speech tab 1 of selected speech tab 1 of 5 Braille text announcement hints default speech verbosity. Hi, default speech verbosity, pop-up button. Choose how much detail is spoken when describing an item. Menu medium. Low. Checkmark high.
It's just like other screen readers.
Closing. Additional speech verbosity options. Expanded disclosure triangle.
Now you heard that expanded disclosure triangle. You can expand this or close it.
Collapsing additional speech verbosity options.
So that means nothing will show.
Help button. Additional speech verbosity options. Expanding additional speech verbosity options.
And again, to activate elements, you press VO spacebar.
Custom verbosity table. No selection. Help button. Custom in control app. Verbosity default menu button. Description name status. Control button. Verbosity default menu button. Description name status type. Control checkbox.
So it tells you what the certain items are and what the default verbosity will be.
Verbosity default menu button.
So you can actually change them if you
Menu.
like.
Checkmark default low. Medium. High.
For every single
Closing
option,
menu.
you can change it. So this is just basically custom verbosity. We can get into this we can get more into this in a future advanced lesson.
Out of custom verbosity table. Additional high. Default speech selected. Utility categories table. Verbosity selected.
Let's go to the next utility category.
Speech. Voices selected tab 1 of 2. Pronunciation tab 2 of 2.
Now the pronunciation can get quite in detail. So for example, my name Dara is pronounced Dereg according to VoiceOver defaults, and you can actually change how things are pronounced. But we're going to stick
Voices select
with voices for now because you can actually change your voices and all that great stuff.
mute speech unchecked checkbox.
We don't want that, obviously.
Customize language list table no selection.
Customize language, meaning you can actually change
In custom language
Different
default
languages.
column 1 row 1 English. Voice Alex voice pop-up button column 2 row 2. Rate 45 rate stepper column 3 row 2. Edit button column 4 row 2. Edit button.
So
Rate voice Alex voice pop-up button menu Fred
here's all the different voices.
Siri male Aaron Siri. Customize ellipsis.
These are the defaults that are pre-loaded, and if you want to add more, you go into custom and select some more. But we will go over that in a future lesson.
Australia, dimmed. Closing menu. Alex voice pop-up button. Column 2, row 2 pop-up button cell.
Well,
Menu.
Let's go to the Siri one.
Siri mail.
Siri Mail.
It's a little more clear.
Press Siri Mail. Choose the Siri Mail voice pop-up button.
I
Column
personally
2, row
don't like them, but
rate 45 rate stepper. Edit button. Column 4, row 2.
now let's go into edit so you can see the options.
Voice press edit button. 45. Content default rate stepper. 50. Content selected default pitch edit text no selection default pitch stepper. 100. Content selected default volume edit text no selection default pitch stepper. 100. Content selected default volume edit text no selection default volume stepper. 50. Content selected default intonation edit text no selection default intonation stepper. Additional voice options collapsed disclosure triangle. Expanding additional voice options. Content. Default voice. Content. Voice. Pop-up button.
So here is where you can actually change different things that your computer reads to you. So content, meaning basically like articles or text in a certain area.
50. Content. Rate. Dimmed. Step. 50. Content. Pitch. 100. Content. Volume. Dimmed.
So
Step.
content will have all these 4 options.
50. Content. Intonation.
And actually, you can change the voice itself in each category as well.
Status. Default voice. Status. Voice. Pop-up button. 50. Status. Rate. Dim. Status. Rate. Dim.
So status being like progress bars or timers or that sort of thing.
50. Status. 100. Status. 50. Status. Type. Default voice. Type. Voice. Pop-up button.
So when you type letters, typing, you can have a different voice.
50. Type. 50. Type. 100. Type. 50. Type. Attributes. Default voice. Attributes.
So you remember that option where we checked before when attributes status changes? That's what this is referring to.
50. Attribute. 50. Attribute. 100. Attribute. 50. Attribute. Voiceover menu. Default voice. Voiceover menu. 50. Voiceover. 50. Voiceover. 100. Voiceover menu. 50. Voiceover. OK. Default button.
So we'll just go ahead and OK that.
Customized language list. Table. Add language button. Remove selected add language.
We will get into add languages later on.
Remove help button. Add voices. Utility categories. Table.
So that's it for voices. Very straightforward, actually.
Navigation.
Navigation. This is kind of a big one.
Initial position of voiceover cursor. Keyboard focused item. Initial position of voiceover cursor. Pop-up button.
That's where I would leave it. And actually how I have my cursors, they're all, well, I'll have to set it for this because I restarted my, I reset my voiceover preferences. But how I have it set usually is where voiceover and mouse cursors are locked. So they're intertwined and you don't have to keep, if you remember in JAWS, you have JAWS cursor and PC cursor and you'd always have to route them to each other. You can actually lock these together.
Grouping behavior. Standard. Grouping behavior. Pop-up button. Synchronize keyboard focus and voiceover cursor. Checked. Check box.
Okay, so it comes locked as it is, so that's good.
Mouse pointer. Ignores voiceover cursor. Mouse pointer. Pop-up button.
I don't want that.
Mouse ignores voiceover cursor. Mouse pointer.
So the mouse pointer
Ignores voiceover cursor.
ignores voiceover cursor.
Menu 3 items. Follows voiceover cursor.
I want follow voiceover cursor.
Press follows voiceover cursor. Follows voiceover.
That way everything is nice and congruent.
Allow cursor wrapping. Unchecked. Check box. Skip redundant labels. Unchecked. Check box.
Redundant labels meaning like anything that's labeled. We'll get into labels later on and how you can actually add labels yourself. So I personally would just leave this unchecked.
Automatically interact when using tab key. Checked. Check box.
So like JAWS, when you press the tab key, you go from element to element. Will it be a text field, form field, radio button, check box, all those sorts of things? Same thing will happen with this. When you press the tab key, it'll go from element to element, and things that you normally have to interact with, it will automatically interact with. So it'll save you a lot of time.
Enable fast searching, unchecked, checkbox. Right command key. Enable fast searching, dimmed, pop-up button.
We'll go over this in a future lesson.
Help button. Right enable.
Okay, so that's navigation.
In YouTube, zoom, dimmed button. Voiceover toolbar. Voiceover utility. Toolbar. Utility categories. Table. Navigation. Web.
Web.
Navigation. Selected. Tab. 1 of 3. General. Tab. 2 of web rotor. Tab. 3 of 3. Navigate web pages by. DOM order navigate web pages by. Selected. Radio button. 1 of 2. DOM order navigate web page.
DOM order.
Selected. Grouping items navigate web pages by. Selected. Radio button. 2 of 2. DOM order navigate web pages by. Selected. Radio button. 1 of 2. Group DOM order navigate web pages by.
I'm not quite sure what DOM means. I've never heard that phrase before.
Grouping items navigate web pages by. When navigating web DOM order navigate web pages by. Selected. Radio button. 1 of 2.
That's interesting.
Grouping items navigate web pages by. Radio button. 2 of 2. When navigating web tables. Group items within one navigating web tables. Unchecked. Checkbox.
That would be way too confusing for beginners in VoiceOver, just so you know.
Speak column and row numbers when navigating web tables. Checked. Checkbox.
I personally like that, so it'll tell you how many columns and how many rows are within a certain table.
Navigate images. Always. Navigate images. Pop-up button.
Just like any other screen reader.
Menu 3. Never. With descriptions. Press with descriptions. With descriptions. Navigate images. Pop.
And images are getting better today with the availability to actually add your own description, plus the AI is providing descriptions for us.
Enable live regions. Checked. Checkbox. Always allow keyboard commands to navigate websites. Unchecked. Checkbox. Always allow keyboard commands to navigate websites. Unchecked. Checkbox.
I would not check this only because there are so many different websites that are so different as far as how you navigate their website. So the keyboard commands for VoiceOver may actually conflict with many websites' keyboard commands.
Help button.
Okay, that's that.
Always with when nav group DOM order navigate web rotor. Tab general. Tab 2 selected general. Web when loading a new web page. Speak web page summary when loading a new web page. Unchecked. Checkbox. Automatically speak the web page when loading a new web page. Unchecked. Checkbox. While a web page loads. Speak progress. While a web page loads. Pop-up button.
So it'll tell you the percentage, or I believe there is a tone.
Menu 3
as well.
items. Play tone.
Yep, play tone.
Do nothing.
And do nothing.
Check mark. Speak progress.
I like speak progress
Closing
personally because I do so much. I like to be able to know when it's done. And it'll actually bonk and then say web page loaded as well.
Help button. Speak while a web page loads. Automatically speak the web page when loading a new web page. Unchecked. Checkbox.
Meaning that once it's finished loading, it'll just read from top to bottom the whole web page.
Speak web page summary when loading a new web page. Unchecked. Checkbox.
Or a summary of it when it's loading.
When loading a new web page. Web rotor.
And that's that. So web rotor is just, if you use an iPhone, it's just like your rotor on your iPhone.
Selected. Web rotor. Tab. Select the checkbox to enable or disable an item. To reorder the items, use command up arrow and command down arrow. Item order. Table. No selection.
So
Select the check.
let's try this. I said tab.
Leaving voiceover utility. Entering item order table. Vertical SKR10WLBR.
So I press tab and now it's interacting with that table.
Out of item order. Table.
See, now I'm out of item order.
An item order links. Checked. Checkbox.
So links are checked. That means when I turn the rotor, it will show links.
Item order headings. Checked. Checkbox.
Headings.
Form controls. Checked. Checkbox. Web spots. Checked. Checkbox.
We will get into web spots in a future lesson.
Tables. Checked. Checkbox. Landmarks. Checked. Checkbox. Articles. Checked. Checkbox.
Articles are becoming a bigger thing nowadays with web development and programming and coding. More and more developers are, or webmasters are, having the body of text labeled as an article. So it makes things really quick to navigate to.
Auto web spots. Unchecked. Checkbox.
We'll get into that in a future episode.
Frames. Unchecked. Checkbox.
Actually, I want that one.
Check frames. Checkbox. Buttons. Unchecked. Frames. Checked.
Frames, a lot of people use frames for example, on YouTube, if you're in a live chat, the live chat is a frame, or what's called an iframe.
Buttons. Unchecked. Checkbox.
We definitely want buttons checked.
Check but text fields. Unchecked. Check box.
Definitely want that.
Check text fields. Check box. Images. Unchecked. Text fields. Checked. Check box.
Because you may have a search box, for example. Or going back to YouTube, when you want to leave a chat, you can just move your rotor to text fields and go right to the chat text field.
Images. Unchecked. Check box.
I'm going to check that.
Check images. Check box.
And if you remember under navigation, we changed that to descriptive or described images only.
Lines. Unchecked. Check box. Lists. Unchecked. Check box. Live regions. Unchecked. Check box. Non-visited links. Unchecked. Check box. Visited links. Unchecked. Check box. Static text. Unchecked. Check box.
Static text meaning it's something that does not change on the website.
Radio groups. Unchecked. Check box.
Radio groups. When you hear groups, it's something you interact with in order to get to your selections. So you could have 3 radio buttons in a group.
Check boxes. Unchecked. Check box. Check boxes. Check box.
Definitely want that.
Check boxes. Checked.
So
check
that's
box.
that.
Out of item. Help button. Help.
There you go. Now you got the rotor set up.
Web rotor. Selected. Tab. Select the checkbox. Web general. Navigation. Tab.
Let's go on to the next category.
Utility categories. Sound.
Sound.
Mute sound effects. Unchecked. Check box.
So as I go from one element to the next or to the next line and so forth, it makes a little sound. Listen.
Enable audio ducking. Check.
You hear that little click?
Mute sound
The
effect.
click bonk type thing?
Enable audio ducking. Check. Mute sound effects. Unchecked. Check box.
That's what sound effects are.
Check mute. Enable audio ducking. Mute sound effects. Check.
Now it's just voice. So if you don't want so much sound, you can uncheck that. Or excuse me, you can check it. I personally
Uncheck
like
mute
it
sound effect.
because it gives me just that added feedback.
Enable audio ducking. Checked. Check box.
I don't like this most of the time. Audio ducking is where if you're playing something, video or audio, and you activate voiceover by performing an activity or interaction, the background will duck. It will duck in volume. I don't like
Uncheck.
it
Enable.
most of the time, so I'm going to uncheck it.
Enable positional audio. Checked. Check box.
Now, positional audio is really cool if you're using just the external speakers on your computer, because you can have your computer turned in any direction and the sound will face you. It's really kind of creepy but cool.
Enable positional audio. Checked. Check box.
I don't need it on because I use external speakers.
Uncheck. Output device. MGSU. Output device. Pop-up button.
So if you have additional USB devices plugged in, that's how you can route your voiceover.
Help button.
So that's it for that.
M output. Mute sound. Voiceover utility. Toolbar. Utility
too
categories.
far.
Mute sound effects. Uncheck. Utility category. Visuals.
Visuals.
Cursor. Selected. Tab. 1 of panels and menus. Tab. 2 of 3. Touch. Tab. 3 of 3. Show voiceover cursor. Checked. Check box.
This will be purely for someone who is sighted. So let's say you're having an issue or whatever, and you want a visual person to be able to follow along with you, a voiceover user. They will be able to do so.
Voiceover cursor magnification. 1. Voiceover cursor magnification. Slider.
So you can
Set
actually
magnification
change,
for items in the voiceover cursor.
which could be handy if you're low vision.
Small. Large. When reading text, move voiceover cursor by. Sentence. When reading text, move voiceover cursor by. Pop-up button. Help button.
That's that.
When read large, small. 1. Voiceover. Show voiceover cursor. Checked. Check box. Touch. Tab. Panels and cursor. Selected. Panels and menus. Tab. 2 of selected.
Panels and menus.
Touch. Tab. Show caption panel. Checked. Check box. Display spoken text in a caption panel.
There you go. Self-explanatory.
Show Braille panel. Automatic. Show Braille panel pop-up button. Font size for panels and menus. 22-point font. Font size for panels and menus. Small. Large. Help button.
That's quite easy.
Font size for automatic. Show Braille. Show caption. Touch. Tab. 3 of 3. Select background transparency. 60%. Background transparency slider. Sets the transparency of the background while using the trackpad commander. 0%. 100%. Help, but
And again, we will get into trackpad commanders later on.
one stack top utility category. Commanders.
Commanders.
Trackpad selected. Tab 1 of 4. Numpad tab 2 of 4. Keyboard tab 3 of 4. Quick nav tab 4 of 4.
Let's go to quick nav to start.
Selected. Quick nav. Enable quick nav. Unchecked. Check box. Check. Enable quick nav. Check box. Uncheck. Enable quick nav. Check box. Check. Enable quick nav. Allow toggling of quick nav. Enable quick nav. Allow toggling of quick nav using left and right arrow keys. Checked. Check box.
Meaning that I can press the left arrow key and the right arrow key at the same time. Now what quick nav does, quick navigation, instead of pressing and holding the caps lock or the VO keys plus another key to navigate, you can press just left arrow plus right arrow at the same time to turn quick nav on, and then instead of using voiceover plus left and right arrow, you can press just left and right arrow.
Enable quick nav. Checked. Check. Allow toggling of quick nav using left and right arrow keys. Checked. Enable single key web page navigation when using quick nav. Unchecked. Check box. Assign commands button. Help button.
We'll get into assignments later on.
Quick nav off.
So as I press left and right arrow at the same time, it'll tell you quick nav on or off.
Quick nav on. Quick nav off. Quick nav on. Assign. Enable. Allow. Enable quick nav. Keyboard. Numpad. Keyboard. Tab 3 of 4. Quick nav. Selected. Tab 4.
So that will cover. That'll be that for the utilities category.
Keyboard. Trackpad. Utility categories. Quick nav off. Braille. Activities.
Yes, the rest is fairly advanced. So that will do it for the voiceover utilities categories. Now,
Finder. Desktop.
what I would like to show you is how to quickly access on the fly certain settings. For example, verbosity. If you press V as in verbosity,
Typing echo menu 4 items. Text attributes do nothing.
I will get these options. I'm moving left and right.
Numbers, words. Capitals, change pitch. When status changes, play tone. Speech verbosity level, high. Punctuation, some. Typing echo, characters and words.
In order to change any of these, you just use your up and down arrows.
Words. Characters, characters, words. Characters and words. Nothing, nothing, nothing.
So you hear that dink, dink. That means you're at the top or bottom of your selection.
Characters and words. Text attributes do nothing. Numbers, words.
I'm going to press escape to get out of here.
Stop adjusting numbers.
Now, there's another option that you can press.
Rate 45%.
Yes. If you press Shift, Control,
Closing. Macintosh HD.
Shift, Control, Option, and Command all at the same time and hold it, and then press your right or left arrow, you will get the voiceover speech settings.
Rate 45%. Pitch 50%. Volume 100%. Intonation 50%. Macintosh HD volume. Screen recording Macintosh HD.
And of course, to change those, you would just use your up and down arrows. When we introduce the trackpad, I'll show you how you can change all those with just pressing a key and turning the rotor. It's really fast and much quicker. Cut there. Let's see what else I can cover in this. Basic concepts. Basic concepts. Basic concepts. I'm going to go back into the VoiceOver Help menu by pressing VOH.
VoiceOver Help menu 5 items. User got Commands Help menu control option HH.
Now the Commands menu
Commands Help menu 14 items.
is very handy.
General menu.
If If you go into General,
General menu.
these are the things you're going to be using quite frequently. So you can scroll up and down using the up and down arrow, and listening to the function, it will tell you how to perform that function right after it.
Actions Control Option Command space. Add pronunciation. Bring window to front Control Option FN at. Click mouse Control Option Shift space. Close window Control Option Command Escape. Describe position of item in VoiceOver cursor Control Option FN Command 22.
So
Describe size.
You can get a lot of detailed information just by looking through your commands menus.
Commands help.
I would highly encourage you just to go through
Information
this
menu.
VoiceOver utility help menu. That way you can get familiar with all the
Navigation menu.
you can do. It's really
Text menu.
in depth.
Web menu.
On the surface, VoiceOver seems to be very basic, but once you start getting into the deeper levels, it becomes very, very customizable.
Find menu. Macintosh HD.
Escape to get out of that. So that'll do it for this particular lesson for Introduction to VoiceOver. Thank you everybody for watching this first lesson on Apple's VoiceOver in 2020 Mac OS X Catalina. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or email me personally, whistler@theoryoftheblindman.com, and stay tuned for future lessons. This has been Whistler of Theory of a Blind Man. Thank you all so much for watching my content. It's much appreciated. Don't forget to hit that like, dislike, and subscribe button, or share so others can see it as well. And if you're watching this on the YouTube desktop version, check out the applause feature below the share near the subscribe button. That would really help out too. You can also choose to become a Patreon or support me one time on PayPal, or even become a listener supporter on Anchor.fm. All the links are in the description box below. So for myself and Bug, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, have yourself a great day.